Dr. Hammer. For Inglourious Bastards, here's the review.
Overall, I think I'd give it like a medium. It was not entirely what I expected. I honestly thought it was gonna be more like of like Brad Pitt and them like conquering and like defeating the Nazis rather than like the Nazis just like going around killing people and then like there's a whole lot of gore.
There was a lot of gore. I was reading some reviews and stuff, or just like commentary on the movie, and a lot of people are like especially like the last scene where it was like the Nazis watching like their star kill a bunch of, I think it was like Russians or something, and they were all like laughing at that and stuff. Yeah. But then when it flipped to like them executing the Nazis, it was like us laughing at them. So I remember.
That's actually a good point.
Sort of. I didn't personally laugh, but
I didn't laugh.
One of the reviews was like, oh, now that we're like the Nazis and we're laughing at them. But there was like a lot of like negative criticism I saw like on the violence specifically.
Yeah, I mean it was just like it was intense. And, like that makes sense that that's what they were trying to accomplish with like the Nazis like not thinking it's funny when it's actually like, happening to them.
But I think it's kind of unique since it's like a World War II film, but it was just like so far from like historical accuracy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, because like Hitler got shot, like got just like
like annihilated.
Literally.
But I mean, what do you think the social commentary is?
I was actually thinking about that. I feel like there was a lot of like national pride and just like nationalism that like everyone was excited about, like especially how like there's some scene, I forget what it was because I watched like that scene last night, but it was something about like they're just talking about like him being German and like how great the Germans were, but like I forget exactly what it was. But
yeah, but there was a lot of that.
They're like proud to be who they were.
Mm-hmm. So you think that was
kind of like what I was gathering from it.
I feel like maybe it was like some sort of commentary on like morality. And, like, how like moral are you, or like
there are points.
What does it mean to be like a hero, or like what does it mean to be like a savior for your country? Because like especially with World War II films, it's always like, well, the Nazis like thought they were saving their country. They were like the only ones, but like everybody, there was like them and everybody else. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then like the main antagonist, what was his name? Like Long.
I don't even know.
But like the main German who was like in the first scene. Yeah, I was watching like the scene with like the strudel. Yeah. And the French woman, how he like, I feel like this was like such a common thing in the movie where like everybody knew exactly who like the other person was, and like they were a Jew or they were an imposter, but there was so much like unsaid tension. And I feel like the cinematography did like a really good job with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like all like the close-ups, or like when Diane Kruger, I don't remember her.
Which one?
She's the blonde German actress.
Oh, yeah.
But like that scene when she's first talking to like the evil, like the German like asshole. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh yeah, it was like mountain climbing. The camera's just like circling like the entire
That's
group,
actually
like
a good point.
Hawk.
That's a good point.
It just like puts you into the scene, or like back to like the strudel thing. Like all the noise was so like vivid, like the cutting, and like he was like, oh, like the whipped cream. Remember? And it did like that super close up of them like scooping the whipped cream. And I was like, what is that?
That's a good point. And like even the part where like the actress, what's her name? The one you just talked about?
Mélanie Laurent, I think that's her name.
Yeah, so like when she got killed and like the guy was strangling her, I was like shut my eyes.
Kruger.
Yeah. Cause like the guy's face was turning like bright red because he was just like angry, and you could just like tell like physically he was just like putting everything into like killing this woman. And I was just like, oh my god.
Yeah, there was a lot of like just like when someone was like murdering or being murdered, there was like such like a close up, or like and I feel like that like really like captured almost like, I don't know, like the animalistic sort of thing.
Yeah.
But then also,
like, humans.
Yeah, or is it like, is it supposed to be a comedy too? Because like
obviously they were trying to play on the comedy. Because like the Americans are like super like deep Southern
accent.
Yeah.
Good attitude. Good attitude. That was my favorite character.
And it was funny too because like the Americans, when they like the very last scene, like when Brad Pitt shoots the guy, just like shoots him. Like it was just so like casual. Like he didn't. And then like, but the other scenes, like the Germans were just like completely like.
That's one thing. It's just like really casual, or like, you know, like back to like the last scene where the French actresses, I don't remember hers, like Shoshana or something, but like Melanie, she is like, oh, you're going to die, and like the fire's burning. I was like, oh, that's for sure like an allusion to hell, that like all the Germans and the Nazis are going to burn in hell. Like there's fire around them. Like she's clearly like the devil, but she's like the Jewish devil bringing like justice, and then she's like, brr.
Yeah, That's actually a good point.
But yeah, no, that was intense.
I'm trying to think like what else. It's also interesting too. Like I don't know if this was like supposed to be like this is on purpose or not, but like how the Jewish person who owns the cinema,
Yeah.
her like boyfriend, not boyfriend,
Yeah,
like,
like
it was like an African American
yeah.
guy. I was like, that's interesting. Like I don't know, was that like supposed to be like that?
I feel like, I mean, obviously, like there's also like racism back then too. Because
Yeah.
remember he was like, oh
'Cause he
yeah,
was
like
the helper, right?
yeah, like the Negro who like runs the film.
Yeah.
Like we don't want like that in there. So I,
They
maybe
were kind of defying social norms by like being together in a way, right?
yeah. I guess that. And then also, oh, you know what's a weird thing too? So like you know the German, like the Nazi who was pursuing the French woman, and like
Yeah.
he like shoots her. And
Yeah.
like I thought the movie did such a weird job of like almost portraying him as likable, and you know what I mean? Just like this
Yeah,
guy who has a
yeah.
crush on this girl like most of the time. You know, he's like quite
And then
charming.
he was like just super aggressive.
And no, but then like I feel like they did that, and like all like the script and like the cinematography made like the French woman seem like the one who is almost the bad guy in that relationship of constantly resisting him. You know what I
that's a
mean?
good point,
But then
yeah.
like yeah, in the end like he was clearly, I mean you knew he was a
obviously the
lunatic
bad guy,
because
yeah.
he was a Nazi, but
Yeah,
I thought that was strange that they even like
they portrayed it like that. I wonder why.
portrayed him as like likable.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe it goes back to I mean it's like not historically accurate, but like some sort of thing on like how Nazis were like humans too, but like obviously deranged. I don't know. You know what I mean?
That's actually a good point. And they have like emotions, and like maybe like some of them actually do feel bad about like what they're doing, but like they have to do it because like Hitler was kind of like
Yeah, but then when he lost his temper, he was like clearly brainwashed, and she's like, oh, like lock the door. He's like, oh,
okay,
he was like totally back
Completely
to
back to
normal.
normal.
So I was like,
that's a good point.
I feel like yeah, definitely yeah. Anything else?
I don't know. Anything else?
I would give it a thumbs up. I really like Tarantino films. I know.
Oh, I know it's Tarantino.
Yeah, it was Tarantino. I mean, Head's always like Django, Pulp Fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some of Tarantino's big ones. And like, I see a lot of people's complaints with like the violence, but also I just, like I said before, I think it's a really interesting take on like the fact that there's such a debate on World War II films, and especially when you try to make it realistic. Like, was this a proper depiction of Hitler? Like, should we portray him totally as a monster or totally as like this like human? So I feel like this didn't really even try to approach it that way. It was just like, we're gonna make up a completely fabricated story and like have like film be within the film. So I really liked it that way.
That's true. That's a good way to look at it.
Cheers, Dr. Hammer.
Bye.